Hello, my name is Mike Garza. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Support Services. We wanted to come to you today to be able to show you a quick video on actually administering the test, the COVID test that we have that's been provided to us by the state. As you know, this is a voluntary test for all their employees and all our students that want to participate. And any test of students must be done with parental consent. Okay, so before we get started in actually administering the test, we have our 2 volunteers that have agreed to test with us as well. They are also test administrators. So one of the important things before you administer a test in mass, in groups, you want to make sure that your test administrators test themselves prior to testing anybody else, because it's critically important that everybody is negative when they start the process of testing other individuals. So as we're prepping our areas, we want to make sure that we have these vital items that are listed that are going to be provided to you. We'll be sending them out from our central warehouse location to make sure that you have them on hand before or prior to testing. You want to make sure that every one of the spots has a test kit. So you're going to have a test kit available here for the test areas. And you want to also make sure that you have some form of either a butcher paper or paper that can be on the actual surface itself to be able to protect any contamination that may potentially happen. In addition, you want to make sure you have a swab that's available to the test subjects. And finally, you want to have a disposable mask available to them as well, and you will see why it's needed during the process. In addition, there's an informational card that's provided for every particular box, and you want to go ahead and issue those out at the end of your testing so that they can read up on the information itself. So with that being said, before you get started and before people are coming into the testing area, you want to make sure that everybody that comes in is non-symptomatic. They shouldn't be coming into any of our school premises without answering the questions if you have symptoms or not. If you do have symptoms, they should not be coming into our campuses or departments. And if they're symptom-free, then they can participate in the testing process. You want to go ahead and offer hand sanitizing for every individual that's testing. And you want to go ahead and do it yourself as a test administrator so that you're not cross-contaminating the actual sanitizing equipment itself, okay? So that, we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing you want to do is you want to instruct the participants to go ahead and take off their reusable masks. Usually they have reusable masks, and they can go ahead and replace it with the disposable mask that we provided to them. Perfect. So then the next step is we want to prep the testing area. And so we ask that they get their testing kits, the little white packet that's provided to them. And we want them to go ahead and open it up. There's a little sliver on either one of the sides. And they're going to go ahead and put out the test booklet itself. The first thing you want to do to confirm with anybody that's getting their test kit is to confirm a blue line that is on the actual test itself. Do we have a blue line?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a blue line? Perfect. Okay. So we ask them to go ahead and open up the book and make sure that it lays flat on the surface. So that means that they may have to bend it backwards so that it is completely flat on the surface. Go ahead and bend that a little bit more. There you go. Okay. From this point forward, you want to remind them that the test kits are not to be picked up in no fashion or no way. So make sure that they keep them completely flat from the process of getting the sample, putting the sample into the test kit, closing the test kit. At no time should it be picked up, as to not alter the substances that are going in there as well. Since we've already done a quality control test on this particular box, the reagent has been certified as being in good use. We do have a volunteer here, Mr. Rick Rangel, who's going to be actually applying the reagent to the test kits. So I'm going to go ahead and step back while he does that. And in this particular case, the test administrator will be applying 6 drops in each one of the test kits. Okay. At this point, we're going to be now asking for the participants to grab their swab and make sure that they open up the one side. There's a butterfly side, and that exposes the handle. Just expose the handle. Have it ready and available. And do not pull it out. Go ahead and put it back on your table there. Okay, perfect. Just make it available. Don't pull it out. There you go. Okay, at this time, this is your participation. So you're going to grab your index finger and you're going to put it right underneath your nose, like if you're blowing into your nose, blowing into a napkin, okay? So I'm going to count to 3. You'll blow 3 times, okay? 1, 2, 3. And the reason is we want to bring up whatever we can to be able to take a good test sample of the item, okay? So now I'm going to ask you to pull your mask underneath your nostril only. Make sure you're covering your mouth, okay? Grab your swab and proceed to apply the swab inside your nostril from the bridge of your nose down, okay? Along the wall of your nostril, in the inner nostril, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now do the other nostril. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now proceed to put your mask over your nose. Make sure you protect everybody. And go ahead and insert it on the bottom hole, the bigger hole of the 2, at an angle to where it goes up, in and underneath to go to the top hole, and then go clockwise, spin it clockwise 3 times. 3 times, perfect. Okay. Then what you're going to want to do is take off the adhesive, that's the little red adhesive there, so that we can apply the tape. And again, without picking up the test kit, you're going to close it from left to right and make sure that it's tight and secure on the surface. Okay, at this point, we're going to be actually putting on the timer. Most of the videos that we'll be sending you actually have a timer as part of the presentation, so that timer will be displayed in a bigger fashion. And as we're going through this process, this is the process where Ricky will go ahead and scan the information, and I'll explain it as he's doing the process. So the first thing is Ricky's going to be scanning the test kit. The test kit itself is the information that's related to the actual exam. Then in addition, he's going to scan the process of the QR code. This is the demographic information that each of you have submitted when you actually register to be able to get tested. You want to confirm the individual's demographic information. Most importantly, you want to confirm the email and the cell phone number. Some people have put in their office number, and this is not going to work because the cell phone number or any device that you're using to get notification must be a device that can receive text messages. So you either use your email and your cell phone or both. In addition, we've had some issues whenever we're trying to submit. As part of the demographic information, you want to make sure that you put the TX instead of the whole word Texas, because it will not allow us to submit if it's done incorrectly. There's some additional questions that require us to ask if you have been tested before. Any test, not just the Binex testing. In that testing, that information, it just requires us to identify the type of test it is and the month that you took that test. And then we provide that information. In addition, it asks if you work in the healthcare industry. In most cases, the answer is no, unless they're school nurses. And then the final question is, are you symptomatic? And again, you should not be on the premises if you are symptomatic. So we want to make sure that that process is filled out correctly. If you happen to answer yes, and you do have somebody that's symptomatic, there's a list of other questions that need to be answered before you can proceed. So at this point, once Ricky has gone through the process of putting in the information through the application, he then go to the first screen, exit out. It actually asks you if you want to save and exit, and that allows you to go to the next person to be able to scan. So once you save and exit on one individual, you go to the next individual and you can go ahead and scan. The great thing is that once they've been scanned, once we scan the test kit and once we scan the QR code, it has already married the information to that particular test kit. So anybody that is helping in the process of scanning can scan any other of the test kits, and that information will populate again, whatever device that they're using. So that's the important part here. So we are currently arriving at 12 minutes left for the actual results to be official. The Abbott Laboratories requires us to wait the 15 minutes as per the manufacturer requirements. That is the point where we go ahead and enter the official results. But exactly at 12 minutes, at 11 minutes that are left, we can identify if the individual is already positive or negative. We want to make sure that it's very, very specific to the fact that any two lines. You have your one line and you have any version of a second line, whether it's a speck, a dot, any type of indication of a second line is going to be a positive. We are going to err on the side of caution and make sure that it's a positive result, okay? We do recommend, it's not a requirement of the employee, but if it does come out with a positive result, we do recommend that they retest somewhere else, preferably a PCR test, and that will allow them to have some reassurance or at least a confirmation that they're actually positive, right? Because this is not infallible. We may have some false positive, we may have some false negative. So we want to encourage them to go ahead and do that as well. So we're already under the 12 minutes, so we want to go ahead and indicate. Ricky, if you want to go ahead and let us know.
This looks negative. This looks negative.
Negative, okay, we have a negative results here.
And this looks negative.
Okay, we have 2 negative results here. So officially, after the 15 minutes are up, we will then go ahead and scan the information and we'll submit the information officially in the results that we were able to indicate here. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to go ahead and speed up the process in the video so that we reach the 15-minute mark, and then Ricky's going to go ahead and scan it. Now that we've waited the 15 minutes, now we can submit the official results. So Ricky will go ahead and scan, and it'll populate the information again. We want to confirm with the individual that we're submitting a, in this case, negative result, and to make sure that we're submitting it online as a negative result. And we'll do the same thing. Again, confirming that it is a negative result and confirming the submittal that it is a negative result with the individual. Okay, so at this point, we ask the individuals themselves to grab their lollipops. If you want to just pick up your lollipop, show it to the camera. This is the item that's going to go into the red bag. Go ahead and do that. Put there in there. Then you can go ahead and switch out your masks. And the masks themselves will also go into the red bag. Okay. The test administrators will then collect the QR codes information, and we'll collect them as a negative result in a file that we'll store at our location. In case that there's any questions or any contact tracing that needs to be done, we have a file that have all the results. The remaining items can now be thrown away in a regular trash receptacle. So go ahead and grab the whole paper, everything, wrap it up, and then go ahead and throw it into the regular receptacle. Okay, and because you'll have maybe potentially other individuals using the same test kit, you want to go ahead and wipe down the reagent so that it can be used for the next group of individuals that'll be testing, and that is a safe protocol. In the event that we have a positive result or a positive test, you're going to want to have that individual, if it's a student, you're going to walk that individual to the isolation room if they have no means or ways of going home at that moment. And prior to testing any of the employees, you want them to make sure that when they're going to go into their test area, that they bring their personal belongings with them. So that in the event of a positive result, you're going to ask them to leave from that point out the door on the way home, and then you'll call for all the intake information that is required. The last thing you need is for that positive individual to go through the hallways or any of the other areas, potentially infecting other individuals. So you want them to walk out as soon as possible. Again, if you have mass people testing, you ask that individual to stay. You ask everybody else in the testing area to get up and walk out to a designated space, a hallway, another area, outdoors preferably. You sanitize the area. You ask the individual to leave if it's an adult, and if it's a student, you take them to the isolation room, and then you sanitize the area, and then you let everybody come back to finish the results of their exam. And that concludes our testing program video, and I hope this is helpful. If any questions, you can contact me at 7975 or Rick Rangel at
6401.
6401.